Stop worrying so much about the future. Worry about this moment right now. What's the best thing you can do right now? So, what's the biggest pain of all? What could be causing the suffering, unhappiness, and dissatisfaction most of the time? I think it comes from a heaviness that accumulates with time. Like little barnacles on a ship, your heart can get heavy with expectations, the fears, the wounds, critique, failure, desperation, hope, excitement, you name it. It gets really hard to carry all that around. The pumping stops. You lay the heart down eventually. This is where I am and what I am. This is what I do. But that's not true. Your heart will only get heavier and harder to lift. The flow of life will go on. Of course it will. And you will be pulled in the current. You will want to go. You'll know the calling, but your heart will remain anchored. It will stretch. It will ache. That'll never change. Please know that. At best, you will go totally numb. You'll just forget what you love. Don't ever let that happen. Heavy or light, pick it up. Hold it high for all to see. Drift along with the current of life. Remain present. Don't ever be driven by external expectations. Just let the next thing you do also be the most important thing you could do. You are divine, so don't waste a fucking moment of your time. Let the pain accumulate with the drift, but keep it wiped clean. See the shiny, polished finish underneath. A clearer view of what matters most. See for yourself that there's really nothing to fear. The hurt can be bad. The resource is scarce. The pain very real and very heavy, but you are not powerless. You can still act. You can still reach. You are still capable of picking your heart up and carrying it wherever you want, really. So what's stopping you? It's a reading from a book called Barbell Buddha. It's actually the name of the, what would you call the book of books. It's a book of 3 books written by a gentleman named Chris Moore, who was a ex-powerlifter, ex-meathead, turned into something of a philosopher. And this was probably one of the first philosophy books I read, which is kind of strange because it's not really well known, let's say. But there's something that happens as we journey through life. It tends to get harder and harder for us to show our true selves. It can get harder and harder for us to show the world, to show those around us what's really in our hearts. It's quite a strange thing because you'd think that as you progress and you get older in life, you become more confident in who you are. Often that's not what happens. What happens is that as we progress through life, we accumulate a lot of baggage. We have barnacles attaching to us like on a ship, and they kind of just weigh us down. And what a lot of us do, to the powerful imagery that's in that quote, we're kind of on our ship, right? And we throw our heart overboard and we try and use it as an anchor. And what happens is that it stretches, it's painful. As opposed to keeping our heart with us, as opposed to really being present in the moment and letting the current kind of do what it does and the wind do what it does and us trying to steer accordingly to get where we want to go. Doesn't mean we don't have direction in life. But it's really hard for us to carry ourselves with us, which is kind of an odd thing. And why? Well, we really accumulate a lot as we go through life, as I mentioned. And like, what do we accumulate? Well, expectations, external and even internal, fears, wounds, maybe past failures, critique, what other people are saying about you, failure, desperation, hope. Yes, even hope, even excitement. They weigh you down over time. They accumulate. They cling to you. And all of that is really just BS if you think about it. All of those things are not in the present moment. Fear, oftentimes we're fearing something that hasn't actually happened yet. Expectations are BS. Wounds, critique, things that happened in the past, failure. All these things are no longer here, but we think about it. I mean, it's the classic example of, I'll be out on a first date with someone, and all of a sudden I think about that crazy thing I said when I was 7 years old. Hey there. Let me thank you for being a listener to this ad-free podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, there are a few things you can do to help me out. A 5-star review on Spotify or wherever you're listening to this really does help, and it's free. You can also sign up for my Substack newsletter or Patreon. Substack free gets each episode emailed to you along with the transcripts in the form of an article. You'll also get access to my live talks, followed by a Q&A afterward. Substack Premium supporters and my patrons on Patreon get access to the recordings and a brief article of those Q&A sessions, access to full episodes of the Paradoxically Speaking podcast, my Steps to Success interview series, Stoic meditations, and much more. Links to Substack and Patreon can be found in the show notes. And so as you go through life, you accumulate this baggage, these barnacles, and they just weigh you down. But they don't have to, right? You can be a little forgiving of yourself. You can be a little graceful towards yourself. You can give yourself a bit of grace. But the fact that, like, as you progress through life, you accumulate things. You accumulate wins, you accumulate losses, emotions, embarrassing moments. And that's why Chris Moore in this passage, he says, your heart will only get heavier and heavier and harder to lift. So that's interesting and kind of sad, right? It's kind of disheartening that as you go through life, you think, like, all the things I'm upset and embarrassed about right now, I'm going to have to deal with that even more in the future because I'll have more things. So how do you counter that? How do you get over all this? Well, expectations, fears, wounds, critique, failure, desperation, hope, excitement, embarrassing moments. Like, how do you lift your heart and show it off? In other words, you could say, how do you be vulnerable so that you can truly be yourself, so that you can maximize the potential you have for human connection and growth? And it's the same way that you lift anything. How do you lift? Well, you become strong. You gain strength. And that's why strength is such an important thing. Strength is courage. It's virtue, wisdom, temperance, the ability to do things in moderation, to do things to the right degree in the right amounts. So yes, it's true that as you go through life, you accumulate a lot of things that are not pleasant. You could even go right to biology. You could say you accumulate wrinkles on your forehead, you accumulate scars on your body, you accumulate damage within your body, you accumulate damaged cells. So what's the antidote? Well, it's strength. You become strong so that you can carry yourself, so that you can carry these things, so that you can move forward. But we don't often think about that. Like we don't often think about like life getting harder and harder as it goes on. But it does. Of course it does. And the only antidote to that is that we become stronger. Just let the next thing you do also be the most important thing you do. It's another line in this quote, and man, like, stop worrying so much about the future. Worry about this moment right now. What's the best thing you can do right now? It might not be the thing you want to do, but what is it? Well, do it. You are divine. Man, never forget, never forget that you are divine. Now, what does that mean? I don't want to get into the God stuff. I don't want to get into the supernatural stuff, but what it means to be divine is that you get to partake, you get to be pro-social, you get to engage in the world in such a way that can make it a better place. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time worrying about things. Don't waste your time thinking about the past. You're divine. You're here for a reason. You're here to make the world a better place, and you better get to it. There's nothing to fear. See for yourself that there's really nothing to fear. The hurt can be bad, the resources scarce, the pain very real and very heavy, but you are not powerless. You can still act, you can still reach, you are still capable of picking it up and carrying it wherever you want. Please, please pick it up. Pick it back up. See for yourself just where you could take it. We grow in proportion to the load we are willing to bear. That's the truth. So, as much as you might feel like you're struggling, you've accumulated a lot of stuff and baggage, and you're afraid of being yourself in this world, that anytime you show yourself, you just accumulate more wounds and more critique. Understand that we grow in exact proportion to the load we are willing to carry. Meaning, if you squat 100 pounds, it won't be too long before you're able to squat 110 pounds. In the same way, if you can move forward through life, if you can keep carrying your heart and not letting it fall down, not letting it stretch, not letting it be some anchor for the person that you used to be, but you carry it with you and you let yourself grow into and develop into the person that you should be. Well, of course, that's the way forward.